The body has wisdom. Have you ever heard that, but maybe didn't really quite understand what that meant? That the body could actually guide you and support you on your healing journey and help you to express things that maybe you didn't even know was there. But how to tap into the body and use the body as a resource, well, that's an interesting topic. And today I have a dear friend of mine who is brilliant with this topic. I have Jen Aks in the house. Let me invite her in. Hey, Jen, how are you today?
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for this topic. I've worked with Jen to tap into my own body wisdom and my healing journey. And oh my gosh, it's amazing what this woman has created as a body of work. Let me share with you what she is up to. Jen Axe is a leadership coach, author, speaker, and she empowers individuals to lead with authenticity, clarity, and confidence by trusting the body's wisdom. And she has over 30 years of experience as a dance educator, and she brings a deep understanding of how movement, emotion, and self awareness creates lasting transformation. And at the core of Jen's work is the power of gesture, her signature body set practice, using hand gestures to process emotion and access inner truth. I'm just going to stop there because we're going to be talking about this and what this is about. And let me just say, when I first discovered this woman's work about gesture and movement, I brought her into all of my groups, and I did an individual process with her to use gesture to tell my story. And what came through was mind blowing. So I'm thrilled to have you here. Before we jump in, I just want to say that not only is this woman up to big things, she also has a book she's about to release. She just did a TED Talk. This woman is on fire, and there's a reason. So we're going to talk today about movement, but so beyond movement. And Jen, let's just start with body set versus mindset, because I know you talk about the difference between the two. So what is the difference, and what does it matter? Like, tweeze those two apart for us.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, thank you for having me. I love you. I love your work. I love what you're doing. And I'm so honored to be a part of this conversation
Mm,
and a part of your community. So
thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Um, we grow up, being told to think our way through life. This is how we're taught from day one. It's thinking, how do you think about this, how do you think, but my work is about feeling our way through life, and we're not taught how to do that. So from very early on, this whole logical way of being and learning and living is the norm. And it's that certainly didn't work for me. And as a result, I've created this body of work to really help people tap into the body and bring the body into the conversation, bring the body into the decisions that we make and how we lead our life. So, mindset, yes, absolutely. There's so many incredible tools. We can't deny that. And we have been missing this intelligence that's within us. The body knows so much of life and our truth and has so much wisdom to share, but it really hasn't been brought to the surface in terms of being a real source of guidance, a reliable source of guidance. So, body set is the practice that I've created to really help people tap into that wisdom. So, really encompassing both, taking both and pairing them together, then we can have this wholeness approach to life.
I love that. And that's the thing is so many of us, like majority of us, are like neck up people. It's like we're
Yeah.
trying to figure everything out. I mean, so many of my
Right.
clients come to me in overwhelm and the mind just trying to figure things out and control things. And what I hear so often is I want to be able to trust my gut.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the tip of the iceberg there. Like they're actually using that language to say, there's something here in my body
Yeah.
that can actually inform me, that can
Yeah.
guide me. But
Right.
we've been so disconnected from that. Why do you think that is?
I think it's technology. I think it's the advancement of life. Our ancestors relied on the body's wisdom, the intuition to protect their cubs, their children, to hunt for food when they were hungry. The instincts, it was the guide.
Yeah,
And when we think back to that time, technology didn't even really exist, or at least the way it is now. So through the advancement of all of this, plus the pressure that comes at us, combined the technology and social media and the news and everything being so accessible, the voices of all these people with opinions and thoughts and narratives, that's what's in front of us every single day. And it's very hard to pause. It's
right. To
really hard.
unplug. Yeah,
It's hard to unplug, and it's hard for us to remember because so many of us are disconnected, as the years go on, the further away we become from that truth and that reality. But the reality and the truth is we have that primal instinct inside of us. It's there. We were
yeah.
born with it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And, in addition to the technology, and I really appreciate that, I think that's like so valid. I also think culturally, as things developed over time,
Yeah.
we suddenly got indoctrinated into how things were supposed to be. Like
Yeah.
just our country in reference to achievements and checking the boxes. By this
That's
age
right.
you should be married, by this age you should have a certain
Right.
amount of money in your bank account, and it's put us so much into our heads,
Yeah.
and we've lost access to so much good stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's a tremendous amount of, to your point, the comparison too, and especially these children that are growing up in this age where it's really all about the likes and the comparison and everything is just
Mm,
right in front of them. And I feel terrible because I think that generation has it even harder than us. But you're absolutely right. These boxes that we have to check off that measure how successful we are. And it's very hard pressure to walk away from.
yeah, and even all of that, there's also at the core of it, how I view it is survival. That instinct to for me to be able to fit in, for me to be
Yeah.
loved, that I better figure it all out. And what's been lost is the wisdom of tapping into our body to actually guide us. So I would love for you to share about gift. You have a gift for the
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
GIFT. Can you tell
Yeah.
us what those pieces are, what those letters mean, and what that means to you?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love this. Well, I think we all have this gift inside of us. And this is this acronym that I've created to help people understand and wrap their head around the power of gesture and how to use it in their life. So, gift starting with G is ground.
Mm,
Right? Really grounding in. And how do we do that? We do that in my world by body setting, taking a moment to pause, placing one hand on the heart and belly, and closing our eyes, grounding into the moment, really grounding, meaning and connecting to feeling your feet on the ground, feeling your seat on the ground, and closing your eyes to connect to the internal energy that you have. So that's that moment of pause. So that's ground. I is very interesting. I is about imagination because I find that sometimes people can't get into the feeling until they imagine an experience. So, for example, the grounding happens, G. The I, using our imagination, let's say we're in a moment of self doubt or confusion or worry or comparison, right? A limiting belief of some kind, using our imagination to put us into an experience where we were confident, where we did make the right decision, where we did have faith in ourselves, using that imagination. Then F is feeling. Then
Oh,
we
whoa,
can
whoa, 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 whoa,
feel.
whoa, whoa. I want to
Yeah.
go back to the
Yes.
imagination thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is so brilliant. Um, and I also think it's brilliant because it's what I do with my clients. um,
Yes.
sometimes people can't really tap into their
The
emotions,
body,
but
right,
yes. So, inviting them to go into their imagination, put themselves at the cliff of a beautiful ocean with the
right,
breeze coming through,
right.
holding the hand of a loved one. Like, what does that feel like? Or in the past, think of a time that, your heart was blown wide open and you felt really strong and confident, and then to tap into what's the body feeling now. So I love that. I love that one. So I just wanted to like highlight
Well, I
the,
want
the
to add
power of,
on.
of thought with that.
Exactly. And I want to add on to that because I do find that there are some people that struggle to imagine a time when, right?
Yes.
Because they may say, I never
Never
had
had
that.
it. Yeah.
So we can create that image because the brain doesn't even know the difference. So
Right.
we can create that place where we are feeling confident and alive, doing whatever it is, whether it's in a relationship or on stage, giving a talk or just journaling and feeling amazing or whatever it is. So the imagination is not just about putting yourself in a place where something happened. We can actually create the reality inside of us,
Yeah.
which will then create the feeling. Go ahead.
Beautiful. And you just said something I want to elaborate on, which is the brain doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
And that's what's really crazy awesome, which, I used to say the brain is kind of stupid, but the brain is really smart. It's like you could actually think of a scenario and the brain actually think you're there. And
Right.
that's where, that's so much of meditation and visualization dumps all these new hormones into our body because the brain goes, "Oh, she's happy." Even if you're having a rough day, you're able to do that. And so I want to underline that it's not about not using your brain, not using your thoughts, but it's about using it to be able to tap in with visualization. We need both. We need both. We've just overrode the brain stuff. So
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly. Yes,
All right.
100%. So
Cool.
then the feeling shows up. The
Yes.
feeling is created by the imagination.
Yes.
And feel it, once we feel it, then we can transform, which is the T, right? Transform by using the power of gesture. So there are approximately 40,000 nerve endings in our hands alone that send direct signals to the brain all day long on a feedback loop. And this is why part of the reason why the power of gesture can really shift how we feel so quickly because we've grounded, we have imagination, we're feeling, and now we transform by using our hands. That's directly, excuse me, connected to the brain, which is the imagination that we just kind of went through. And this is why the practice really gets us to the place where we want to go.
I love it.
Me too.
So, one of the things you've shared with me is that you had some classroom struggles and that your classroom struggles actually moved you toward this gift. You want to tell us about your journey around that?
Yes, absolutely. Because this feeds into something we spoke about earlier. It's one of those boxes on the list to check off that can
Yeah.
impact our life so deeply. And the box that was not checked was getting really good scores on my SAT tests and IQ tests, right? And grades. Like I did fine, but I didn't do well because I didn't learn well in a traditional setting. It just didn't resonate with me. So because I didn't do well and I couldn't check off that box, because that is how society measured intelligence back then and still does to a large degree, logical, mathematical. And I did not fit into that box. I created a story about myself that I wasn't smart. And that limiting belief had severe impact on my life, on my soul, on my body. And I have a million stories around that. It was hard, to say the least. And I felt like I didn't fit in. And it was very, very, very difficult. However, at the same time that I was going through these emotions of self doubt in a million different scenarios, I had dance. I was always dancing. I was taking classes. I was performing. And that kept me in my body, but I didn't realize how significant that gift was until my late 20s when I really hit my rock bottom and I started doing research and I found the work of Howard Gardner, who was a Harvard professor and psychologist, and Daniel Goleman, who's also a psychologist and science journalist. And they did a lot of research on multiple forms of intelligence, two of which have changed my life. One is kinesthetic, which is the body's wisdom, the body's ability, right? The physical body's ability to help us heal, process, and communicate through movement. And emotional intelligence, which is our ability to process our own emotions and have the awareness of others. So these two forms of intelligence and recognizing that it's not just about logical, mathematical, really shift with like real research, shifted me into an empowering place where I decided to relearn and get to know who I truly am and what my
Mm,
gifts are, because for so long I was measuring myself up against a world that I just didn't fit into. So that moment and that those years of research and practice, because I absolutely like re-educated myself in kinesthetically, we can talk about that, but that shifted me into the really the power of the body, which I knew all along because I was a dancer and it was doing something, but I didn't know what. So
mm.
I put all this stuff together. I wound up, being a dance educator for, like you said, over 30 years, really empowering children to learn through the body. And then, now I have the power of gesture, which is all about using the hands kinesthetically. So that's sort of the journey that led me here and the deep understanding of why this practice works so beautifully.
I'm so loving this, and I'm just thinking about the women and some men that are listening to this topic and starting over in their life when it comes to relationship and love, and maybe they're not even looking for love. Maybe they just want to feel better and feel more fulfilled in the second half of life, but they've been running from their neck up and they're not tapped into their body. So I would love for you to share how this work can open them to more love and more connection, and maybe even give them a couple of gestures right here, right now for them to experience the work. Are you up for that?
Perfect. So the first thing is that this practice just requires our hands. So most anyone can do it. It's accessible. It's truly easy to master. The difficult part and where I'd say the challenge is that being vulnerable is scary, and being willing to really listen to our body's wisdom can people can be afraid of that. And I understand, because when our truth is revealed, people feel the pressure, like they have to now go do something with it. And here's the invitation that I just want to put out there first, which is in how I see it is that's not the case. We need to be willing to be vulnerable. And the wisdom that comes through, all we need to do is just hold it for ourselves for as long as we want to before we take action to go make the choices we need to for our lives, whether it's entering a new relationship, leaving a new relationship, starting a new job, leaving a new job, making a move, starting a fit, whatever the decisions are, we don't need to act fast. We need to act when we're ready. So
Mm.
when we can enter, I think the first thing is really understanding that frame, so that the pressure's off. Because the truth is, this works, and we do start to unlock what we need, what we want, and where we want to go. And so that's number one, to really understand that piece. Um, the second thing is, the beauty about this practice is that you can truly do it anywhere. So oftentimes I find myself and the people I work with, an example being at a dinner party and feeling overwhelmed, in that comparison mode, let's say, oh, they seem like they have so much. Oh, they have the perfect relationship. And I don't, whatever it is, excuse yourself, go to the restroom.
I love
And
that. I
in,
always say, go to the bathroom. Go to the
yeah,
bathroom. No one's going to ask you, why are you going to the bathroom, right? It's
exactly.
the
They're just
perfect place to regroup.
it truly, truly is. I can't even count how many times I've done that.
Yeah.
And so the first thing is remembering the gift: ground, imagine, feel, transform. And we can do this in under 5 minutes, right? This was your question, right? I want to make sure that your question of how to incorporate this really into their life and how this
Right,
can
because I
unlock.
mean, some of
Yeah.
the people are going out online or dating for the first time
Yeah.
in their life, and I mean, that can be really vulnerable. And the
Absolutely.
most important thing is being authentic and being real, because we
Yeah.
know relationships aren't going to flourish if people
Yes.
are making believe there's something that they're not. And usually it shows up
Right.
somewhere down the road, and that's where the drama is. So to be able to drop into their bodies and their knowing and be able to have these tools can support them when they are uncomfortable or not knowing their next step. And I really want to underline what you said about it's not just jumping in, it's about giving yourself time to process, time to really know what's going on inside of you before you make a move. And that could be minutes
Right.
or it could be longer, but to give yourself that gift, GIFT, to be able to be informed with what works for you and what
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So, let's put ourselves in the bathroom for a moment and we're having that angst or that fear or that self-doubt or whatever it is. Body set is the first step. That's in the grounding. That's the G. Hand on heart, belly, closing your eyes and allowing yourself really focusing on just feeling, just giving yourself the pause for a moment because it's so often we go right into our head, right into why do I feel this way? I shouldn't feel this way, or whatever it is. So just giving yourself that pause, then
Hold
using
on.
that about,
Before we go on, I want everybody right now just to take a moment
yes,
to put your hands on your heart, close your eyes, and just take a breath. And I'm going to do it with you. So let's
let's
just
do it.
do that. And just with that breath, just with my hand on my heart, I feel more present and grounded and calm. And I was doing fine, but now I'm in a deeper, more open place to even you could even hear it in my voice. My energy is different. It like
Yeah.
how fast was that? So
Yeah.
hopefully everybody did that. Give yourself that gift with that G to just take a moment to just breathe and
Yeah.
feel what's going on. Okay, go on.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And when you're in that G, right? The other thing I like to do is really have intention behind experiencing the hands on the body. We don't typically, we just kind of move through that very quickly and don't acknowledge how powerful that is. It is the touch that can shift us so deeply. And don't
Mm,
forget how powerful the connection is between the brain and the hands. When you are doing this on your body, you are sending signals to your brain that is calming down that amygdala and the nervous system. Let's not forget how powerful this is, right?
yeah.
Just like you just did so beautifully, it is so important for us to know why this works and to take the time to do it. There's so many people that say, "Oh, it's woo woo." It's no, this is rooted in research. This is
Yes.
very deep. It is very powerful. It is rooted in research. It's wildly intelligent. And we need to wrap our head around that because when I did, my entire life changed. And that's what I want for people. So, and I want to say too that it's not just about the relationships. Yes, the relationships, love and understanding and unpacking what it is we want for ourselves, using that imagination to get into that space and feel and then transform. It's also applies to work. The vision we're creating for our teams, the vision we're creating for our employees, the kind of employees that we want to hire. So this is all about really reconnecting to our truth, both personally and professionally, so we can use it in all aspects of our life. So there we
Mm.
are in the bathroom, grounding in, and then using that imagination to feel what is true for us, right? So we're feeling the self doubt or we're feeling the comparison
Right. So
to
this is
allow
not
ourselves.
about pushing anything away. It's
No,
about really
no,
being present with what is and taking the next step.
absolutely. It's a really important point that you raised. And I'm so glad you did because in this work, I help people embody not only what we want to become, that expansiveness and that confidence and that knowing, we must not just it's okay to, we must acknowledge what's holding us back as well. I look at these different emotions that we have as children inside of ourself. And I write
Mm.
about this in my book. And I talk about it like how would we treat a child that was feeling the self-doubt or the comparison or the worry? We wouldn't just walk away. We would say, "Tell me what's going on for you. So why not give ourselves that same respect? And when we do that, those emotions calm down, and then that expansiveness it happens, and then we can step into creating the vision that we want for ourselves.
I love that you put it like children, because that which we don't give attention to that needs attention, it's going to find a way.
Right.
Energy is going to find a way of showing up, and it shows up in lots of different ways. And to be able to give it a voice, it's one of the things that it's a lot of what my work is, and even the Hoffman process that I experienced last year really supported the what does your little kid have to say, and
Yeah.
then to take it to the next level, like you and myself, when it with my clients, which is what's the anger about? Give it a voice. Understand it. Give it a space. Let it have the stage. Doesn't necessarily mean you put it in the driver's seat, because
Right.
it's still a kid, but to go, honey, with gentleness and love, what's going on? Why are you angry? What is your anxiety about? What is your sadness about? To give it the opportunity to be heard. And when we
Yeah.
give that space, it does soften, it does ease, but it also gives us information, which is what you're talking about, which is what's the body wanting to do with this emotion and this experience.
Yeah. You're making me want to share this now. I was going to share it when we got to the tea, but we understand the journey. We are in the bathroom. The importance of the of acknowledging the voice is so essential. It's so essential. And so to give the audience an example of what that could look like in a gesture, right? Could be this. So by working with so many different types of people, culturally, all of the things, very, very diverse group, there's something in common. There's a universal understanding that I'm so grateful for learning through working with all of these people, which is this, that when we are feeling those limiting beliefs, our gestures tend to contract. And when we feel alive and confident in our power, our gestures expand. So, this is a very easy way for us to wrap our head around what the gestures could look like: expansion, contraction. So, for example, very simply, taking your hands and crunching them together. Acknowledge it. Let's say this is anger. And then maybe even your fists are here. Allow yourself to feel it. You're safe. You're fine. This is not going to hurt you. This is going to help you understand the anger, the fear, whatever it is. Then you create the second gesture, and let's just say, and we move slowly and we open our hands to this expansiveness of where we want to go. And this is where the imagination comes in. Where is that place that you did 3 steps ago? Are you now on that stage? Are you speaking your vision? Are you entering a relationship that you love? Is your heart expanding, right? So you can't see because of the frame, but your hands could just continue and continue. And that, again, the brain hand connection, you are sending this energy, sending this signal to your brain, and it all opens up. So that's a very simple, um, easy one to do. And there's a lot like that. If you're in your head and you're feeling, very challenged and weighted down, let's say, this
And for
could be the
those that are
gesture.
listening, she has her hands on her head, and she's
Yeah,
just kind of pulling her head down, kind of
right,
contracting the whole body with her hands on her head. So the
right.
contraction, the heaviness.
Right, exactly. And then there's that image, and maybe your hands now move up over your head
Right.
and blossoming outward. And maybe I'm just all of a sudden like seeing birds fly, or
Yeah.
whatever. Like you let your imagination go. So, this is the practice. And something I want to add to what you were saying before is leaning in with that compassion and curiosity. What is
Mm.
it that you need? What is it that you want? Why are you so sad? Why? Knowing that the voice that's asking those questions is your highest self.
Yeah.
And right. And that, for people to remember that that voice is within them, it's never gone. It's just tucked down and forgotten.
Yep.
And we're trying to just raise the volume on this voice. And so it's within us.
Yeah.
That safety, that comforting voice is within us.
We have been taught on a lot of levels not to trust ourselves, and to be in this overprotective state
Yeah.
where we're trying to figure it all out and cover all the bases, which doesn't allow us to really deeply listen to that voice. So I love that you're sharing that because we have it all here. It's all
Mhm.
inside of us. And like with the shadow work that I do, I say that, I kind of clean off the gook that you've accumulated through your life so that the true essence of your wisdom, your knowledge, your being, your beautiful being can shine. And I just want to also go back to the gestures that you were sharing.
Mm,
When I did my one on one session with you, telling my story, my journey, it was so profound how you guided me and how the old beliefs, the old messages, and how my body just kind of really pulled in and contracted, and the discomfort around it, and how I was led and moved toward more of that expansive opening of gestures that opened up my heart and got me to tap in to that beingness that was joyful, that
mhm,
was just light and
mm,
and peace and love inside of me. And
yeah.
I invite everybody to just keep noticing what's going on in your body throughout the day. How do you feel? Neutral? Do you feel peaceful? Do you feel tight? Do you feel contracted? And to play with some of this.
Mhm, mhm.
And I think this is a good segue for your book because I know the book is filled with so much good stuff around this. Can you share a little bit about what your book is that is coming out really, really soon, depending on when you're hearing this episode?
Yeah, it's coming out September 30th. Thank you for that. I'm so excited for people to get this hands in their book this book in their hands. The book is called Your Body is Speaking.
Mm,
That is what is happening. Your body is speaking all day long. And so the whole concept of the book is to help us all continue or start listening, listening deeper, digging in there for the wisdom, knowing how much wisdom there is within. The book is filled with personal stories that have, that sort of anchor the journey of different moments in my life where I listened to my body or I didn't. Client stories that are profound and so moving. I just recorded my audiobook. That's also going to be ready on the 30th.
so
And
cool.
I cried many times recording this audiobook because these people that I have worked with are just so like the willingness to unlock all
Yeah.
that's within is a profound honor to be able to witness. Um, so anyhow, stories, clients, stories of myself, plus a lot of research, and something I love that I did in this book. There's 5 chapters, and at the end of every chapter is a QR code that
Oh,
people can go and click, and then there I am in a video waiting to take the reader through the power of gesture.
oh my God, that is so valuable because you're giving them all this information and the
Yeah.
stories. They're going to want more. So that's exciting. And
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled that this book is written. I'm just so excited. We'll put the link in the
Thank
show
you.
notes. But I also know you have a couple of other opportunities for our listeners and watchers. You want to share what those are?
Yeah, absolutely. So I run these 2 membership programs throughout the month, Wednesdays and Thursdays. There's that. Beautiful communities coming together and doing the power of gesture in community. As you know, because I've done it with you in your groups, and oh, what a beautiful experience.
So
It's
powerful.
very powerful to do the individual, of course, because we can go into that deep dive, but the group session is phenomenal because we all learn each other's gestures. It becomes like a dance and we're not even standing up. So it's very
Mm,
comforting and we feel, people trust it because it's not so vulnerable with their whole body. So I have that, but I am offering and giving you, I love this. I hope some of the listeners take me up on this. Every Tuesday at 11 o'clock for 30 minutes, I do a
Eastern,
free
right?
class. Yeah,
Eastern.
Eastern. Yep.
You do
I
a
do a
free
30-minute
class.
class. Yeah.
Wow.
So people can try it because it's new, it's not familiar, and people are curious about it. So we really have a great time in those sessions. Again, 11 o'clock on Tuesdays. That's a beautiful thing. And then I'm putting together some other things that people can just download and experience. I have a ton. And
I
so
bet.
I have so many. So I'm going to give you one of those that you can add here as well.
Wonderful. We'll put it all in the show notes. Powerful stuff. And more people are waking up to what they don't know about their bodies and how it is such a resource. So somehow we just lost Jen. So it was an amazing interview. I'm sure you got a whole bunch from it. And what I hope is that you tap into the wisdom of the body. I'm going to put all of her links in the show notes. And her book is coming out, her TEDx is coming out. This is a powerful body of work to tap into the wisdom of the body. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like and subscribe if you haven't, and tell your friends about this powerful episode if you think they would get some value. Until we meet again. Mwah. One more thing before you go. Have you taken my Discover Your Love Avatar quiz? It's a 2-minute quiz that can help you not only know your strengths, your superpower, because you have one, also identify some of your blind spots, some of the things that might be having you in your fear, having you behaving in ways that aren't in alignment with your highest self, the way you want to be when it comes to dating and relationships. And it'll also help you discover why maybe the stars haven't lined up for you yet. Bottom line is, you take this 2-minute quiz, you get a full report in your email with details on how to move forward in next level love, whether you want a partner or not. So you can go to midlifeloveoutloud.com/love quiz. The link is in the show notes as well. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to the station, I'm going to encourage you to do that too, so you don't miss any episodes. And I hope you got a ton out of today's. See you next week. Mwah.